Live.
Hi everyone, thank you to Louise and Stephen. I hope you've all had a good day so far. I always feel like this one is the one that's the hardest to do because it's got that kind of after lunch dip in the afternoon, but I hope you've enjoyed the session so far. I've been kind of dipping in and out myself, and I know there's been some absolute gems in there. And so once again, Louise and Stephen have pulled it out of the bag. These things are never easy to do in person, and doing them online presents its own set of challenges. So well done to you guys. But hi, I'm Donna. I am UK Head of Sales for Vincere. Here at Vincere, we are on a mission to become the world's first really all-in-one recruitment platform. So what does all-in-one mean? So if our founders back in 2008 would have sat around a table and said, hey guys, let's build us an all-in-one recruitment platform based on what the recruiter of today needs, and then set about that roadmap, they probably would have been finished by 2010. And today it would have been a bit rubbish. So for us, all-in-one means all of the things that are, all of the features that are fundamental to a business today. So that's ever changing. And, you know, the things that used to be on a nice to have list in 2018 are seen as absolutely fundamental now. So we're trying to keep up with that pace and actually be ahead of the game so that we can build the all-in-one platform for today. This is what it looks like as of now. Expect this this slide to change as time goes on, but this is what it looks like now. So in order to be able to achieve this and have this all-in-one platform, we've got to accept that the product's never going to be finished. We've got to be agile, and I believe that's the number one rule of RecTech, and it's certainly one of our core values as a business, not just as a product, to be agile. Okay, so that's us. So I'm here today to talk to you about the future of recruitment, and if Louise would have asked me to do a presentation on this subject a year ago or in April of last year, I probably would have sat there and stared at a slide that looked a little bit like this for a couple of hours. Would have been quite a difficult task without a crystal ball. So I think even as a group, recruiters tend to be very optimistic, very positive, very upbeat. But even the most upbeat businesses and positive businesses and the ones with the best business plan were still a bit like, oh, hold on a minute, you know, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. But you know what we did? We kept moving forward. We kept innovating. We kept hiring good people. And we looked at our infrastructure, or you guys looked at your infrastructure, and just ploughed ahead anyway. So I'm delighted to say that a year later, the future of recruitment is a little bit clearer. And those adaptations that we needed to make that were potentially temporary over the last year, we know what's here to stay. So I've just picked out 3. There are many, but these are the obvious ones. So unless you've been living under a bridge somewhere, you know that remote working is a hot topic right now. And whether that be, you know, a little bit of flexibility, whether it be, you know, a hybrid model, even if you're a kind of dead cert 9 to 5 in the office type of person, you can't deny that it's here and it's here to stay. So one of my very good friends works on projects for a very large recruitment corporation whose name I will not say. And back in March 2020, her project was to source, purchase and distribute 2,000 laptops globally in a very short period of time. So that's quite a task, and it just demonstrates how the business was not geared up for this almost like digital revolution, if you like. And I don't doubt for a second that with that came a huge people problem, because the people hadn't been used to working in that way. So I'm sure HR had quite a tough time of it as well. But it's really interesting. They're not the only business, don't get me wrong. It's just my experience. But, you know, a lot of businesses found themselves in a very similar situation where they had to adapt very quickly. Now, as somebody that has worked in tech for a while, I can say that adoption is one of the biggest challenges that we've found when it comes to, you know, getting new technologies accepted by recruitment businesses. And actually what we saw at that point was a real journey where we went into, people didn't want to work in that way. They were forced almost with a hand tied behind the back to work in a certain way. And then they adopted it. So that adoption grew. And then actually what was adoption started to become a requirement. And now I believe it's an expectation. And that presents a whole new set of challenges for recruitment businesses. When I was recruiting staff back in the kind of early 2000s, I don't think I've ever been asked in an interview, what's your tech stack? Have you got a mobile app? Just wouldn't have happened. Now, I believe it is a requirement of serious talent in recruitment. So it's something else to think about and something else that's changed. But there's a running theme across all of these changes. There's one word which really just underpins it. And no, it's not automation. It might shock you to say my presentation isn't about automation today. I think Eloise picked that one up earlier. But for me, it's all about collaboration. Okay, so that's the real kind of key change that we've seen. So that for me is threefold. How do we collaborate with our teams? I was so lucky to be a young girl in recruitment, back in the early 2000s. And it was just, I worked on a very busy sales floor. There was a massive buzz. And I just love that I got to experience that in my career. And I feel quite, not sad, but I'm concerned that, anyone coming into the industry now won't have a similar experience. You can't really recreate the buzz of a Friday afternoon on a busy sales floor in recruitment. It's a really difficult thing to do. So how are we going to get our teams to collaborate and support each other in the same way as they would do if they were all together for 40 hours a week? So that's the first challenge. The next is around our contract book and how we collaborate and communicate with our contractors. So a lot of businesses, a lot of our customers who were predominantly perm have moved very much into the contract space in the last year. And we work with many contract businesses who have either really, really grown, or depending on the market they were in, they may have shrunk. And actually either need to be very, very smart with how they collaborate and communicate with those contractors. It costs a lot to bring them on board. It's really hard to keep them when we're in a war for talent. So what do you do that makes you different and make them want to be redeployed by you and work for you again that your competitors are not doing? And then obviously there's your customers. So I think one of the key changes that we've seen is how we do business in general. So we've become quite nervous of the contingency model, and we're trying to build stronger relationship with our clients. So we need to think about how our client experience has changed as well. So what are the tools that Vincere customers are using to try and tick off those collaboration boxes? Well, you can call this luck if you like, but we released this feature at the start of this year. Vinnie Chat is a collaboration tool for your recruitment teams. And as you can see by the image there, this is available on a mobile app, as are most of our features, actually. You can use them all on the app. Everyone's got Apple Watches now, so they're getting new candidates and placements coming through on their watch. For anyone who uses Slack or knows Slack, imagine picking up Slack and weaving it through your recruitment software. That's Vinnie Chat. So you can call it luck if you want, but actually it's been a long time coming. We had this in our roadmap well before the remote working kind of boom, but there's no doubt about it, the timing was fantastic. And I talked about that kind of buzz on the sales floor. I run a sales team now, and I am a massive advocate for celebrating wins. There's nothing worse than mood hoovers who roll their eyes when somebody makes a new placement and everybody cheers. So we need to think about how we replicate your horn, your bell, your gong, whatever it is that your flavor of celebrating wins. How do we recreate that? If I'm going to be honest, you can't. You cannot take that feeling and move it into your laptop, but you need to try. And so in our Vinnie Chat feature, whether you're using the desktop site or whether you're using the app, you can shout something out to the rest of the team. And it might be a new placement, it might be a birthday, it might be great client or candidate feedback. Give them some kudos. It pings to everybody. because they're all on the app. And then everyone can pile on and congratulations and add in silly giffies and emojis and all the rest of it. So do you know what? When it comes to celebrating not in person, that's about as good as it gets. And that particular feature has been an absolute game changer throughout the pandemic when, you know, motivation was potentially low. It really helped to kind of lift the teams. Moving on to your contractors. I think it's really important I think this is the job of analytics for you as the recruitment business owner and for team managers to be able to see that contract book almost from like a mothership with a real helicopter view so that you can drill down into any potential churn. Okay, so, you know, your contract recruiters are busy, they're out there, they're placing people all day, every day. You need a place where you can go and look at that on a bird's eye view and just identify any potential issues before they arise. So the way that I think of our temp and contractor dashboard inside Vincere Intelligence is almost like a safety blanket, which sits just underneath the humans who sometimes drop the ball. And that's okay, because that's what humans do, as long as it doesn't happen too much. So it will enable you to identify, for example, a contractor that is, you know, is out there, they're making revenue for you on a daily basis, but for some reason, they've not had any love from you for a certain amount of time. And with the war for talent, it's going to be very easy for a competitor to come in and lure them into their next role. So by identifying who these people are, you can then go to the consultant and have a data-driven conversation. So that's just one of the features that's available on our specific temp and contractor dashboard. Let's move into our clients then. So as I mentioned, one of the really common things that we've seen is the doing away of, I'm not going to say death, but doing away of contingency recruitment. Do you know what? Some companies still do it. They do it brilliantly. It works well for them. This is not about bashing any way of doing business. But there's no doubt that, you know, whether it's because we've had the time to look at it or the necessity, a lot of recruitment businesses saying, actually, this type of doing business doesn't work for us anymore. We need this. We need retainers. We need long-term relationships. We need exclusivity. You're going to ask for all that and not give your clients anything in return. You need some tools to present to them to show them the value of working with you on that recruitment as a service model. Okay, couple of examples for you. Your live list is a way of presenting your talent to your clients in a way that is optimized for mobile, which will be an expectation at the moment. And so it's a nice way that they wouldn't have seen before of viewing the talent which you want them to see and you giving them the information that you want to give to them. But it doesn't stop there. This can come back. So your client can talk back to you through the live list. They can arrange interviews. They can send you messages. You can brand it for them. So this is starting to become much more of a tool for that recruitment as a service model, whereby your clients need to get some value out of you. And I really like this dashboard. Just to take you back for a second to the analytics. So I'll give you a scenario. You send a really well-curated shortlist of talent to your client. They come back to you pretty quickly because you're dealing with an internal recruiter and that's their job. They come back to you pretty quickly. They say they want to interview. Great. You send the candidates in for interview. And then there's a bit of a black hole. In the meantime, 2 of the candidates go off the market. Hopefully, you manage to place them, but it's not always the case. It doesn't always work like that. And then they come back to you and let you know that one of them's got a second interview. And when you tell them, sorry, it's too late, they've gone off the market, their finger points directly at you. It's your fault and you've not provided them with a good service. That relationship kind of sucks. So, and I'm seeing a lot of this actually on LinkedIn and recruiters I'm talking to are getting a bit miffed by this. So this dashboard, pipeline activity by customer, it's very simple. It's measuring time between milestones of your recruitment process. So it's great to be able to monitor how good you guys in branch are at moving those candidates through that process and the time between those different milestones. But you can also view this per customer. So in the instance that I've just given to you, I would go out and see my client or Zoom with them and show them the data and say, look, on average, you're taking 4 days to go from, interview to offer or CV sent to interview. Your nearest competitor is taking half a day. And therefore, it's down to you guys to tighten up your processes if you want to win this race for the best talent out there. And all of a sudden, that finger that was once pointing at you will just turn around 380, and they'll start to look at their own processes, internal processes, and tightening that up to make sure they don't lose out on those best candidates. And do you know what? In the process, you stop being a recruiter to them and start being a consultant and somebody that they will come to for advice in the future if they need data around how they're faring from a talent perspective against their competitors. Okay. So what's changed in recruitment technology then? We've talked about the major changes in recruitment. What's changed in what we're seeing in rec tech? And I'm sure that all of the other speakers today would agree with this. We're seeing a really increased demand for technology. So the things that we used to demo, even 6 months, I'm not talking about a long time here, I'm talking about 6 months ago, that we would demo and they would really kind of knock everyone's socks off and wow. They're now like, yeah, whatever. It's not a new thing anymore. So what has historically been, an industry that was maybe seen as not that innovative when it comes to technology is now turning into the opposite. And that's great for me to see. I always hated having that stigma as a recruiter that I wouldn't be so great with tech because I've always loved technology, which is why I am where I am now. But yeah, I'm seeing this real demand for tech, and it's really riding us. We're really aggressive with our product roadmap at the moment, but it's because of that demand. And so keeping up with that pace of innovation, all of a sudden we're like, wow, we're getting whipped here. Let's go for it. And so that's kind of led to one of our other core values, which is innovate always in all ways. And so if I could leave you today with one real takeaway, whether you're a recruiter or whether you're in recruitment technology, I think that would be it, that you should constantly be looking at ways to improve. Don't go with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. There's always room for improvement. So innovate always in all ways. And to prove that that's one of our core values, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into what's next for Vincere. So I might get into trouble, but hey, seek forgiveness, not permission. So as you've just seen, we released at the start of this year our Vinnie Chat feature, so our internal communications tool, collaboration tool, version 2 for us. That's our second iteration of our app. And as I said, you can do most recruitment activity on there, voice to text, everything you would expect out of a cutting edge app. So next for us will be our digital product. So just in that kind of play into that, all-in-one recruitment platform. So you'll be able to manage your whole recruitment website on Vincere, and our portals, which already are very good. Our candidate and client portal get great feedback. They're two key features for us, but they're having a bit of an adrenaline shot as well. So expect to see that imminently. Next, as I mentioned, those things that used to be nice to haves, like video, they're coming to the forefront. They're very much kind of a fundamental now. So we need to respond to that. So expect to see video in the product very soon. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these features and we're going to remove the manual process between them with Vincere Automate. And we've purposely waited to get all of our features and all of our house in order before we start putting that automation in, so that you guys are automating meaningful conversations and great workflows. So when you put the automation in there, it all just comes together. So that was it in terms of the actual future of recruitment. If you want to connect with me or any of my team, please do so. You know where to find us. We're nice people. We love talking about recruitment. We would talk to recruiters all day, every day. And, we recognize that without you guys, we just won't be able to understand the market and what is the future for recruitment. And we won't be able to respond to that in the way that hopefully you'll find we are doing. So do connect with us. Vinny loves you. Have a great rest of the event, and I look forward to catching up with you, please, 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 all in person very soon. Cheers, guys.